Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking into the sources on, well, one of the most chilling cases from modern China. It's a really complex story. You've got this twisted romance, hidden identities, even a live TV standoff, and it all ends, believe it or not, because of new AI camera tech. Our mission for you today is to sort of unpack the horrifying journey of Fa Ziying and Lao Rongzhi. They were often called China's Bonnie and Clyde. We'll go through their meeting, the crimes, how they evaded capture for decades, and finally, how technology caught up with one of them.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. You just don't often see a case this old, this intricate get closed because of a tech breakthrough like that. It really sets this story apart. It's not just true crime. It's about human cunning versus modern surveillance.
Yeah. Okay, let's start at the beginning then. Fa Ziying. Where did he come from? Born in 1964 into a really poor family in China. Youngest of 7 kids. His dad was a cart driver. Mom sold tea. They were just scraping by. And Xiying himself, well, wasn't great at school, didn't seem to have much ambition beyond maybe picking over the family trade.
Yeah.
Then tragedy hits when he's only 14. This is 1977. His father drowns. Just months later, his mother's paralyzed in a car accident. So suddenly he's got no real guidance, no discipline, basically left on his own. And it didn't take long for him to turn to crime. First serious run-in with the law was 1981. He gets 8 years. Robbery, assault, hooliganism, they called it then.
Which was kind of a catch-all term back then, right?
Public order. So anyway, he only served 3 years. Then 1985, another sentence, 10 years this time. Robbery again, intentional injury. But he's out early again, 1989. After that second stretch, he actually, he tried to go straight. Started a business, got married in 1990 to a woman named Mio. They even had a daughter.
So an attempt at a normal life.
Yeah, but it didn't really stick. People still saw him as a gangster. He got this nickname, Baru 7, had links to the local triads. The marriage didn't last. Less than 2 years, they separated. Okay, so fast forward to 1993. This is where things really shift. Xiying is 28. He's at a friend's wedding, and he meets Lao Rongzhi. She's only 18. An elementary school teacher, completely different background, relatively well-off family.
Polar opposites almost.
Right. And Rongzhi, outwardly, she's seen as sensible, kind, very innocent-looking, delicate features. People apparently talked about her looks. But inside, she felt bored, trapped, wanted more excitement than teaching offered. She'd actually wanted to go to college, but didn't. She gets fascinated by Xiying, his bad boy thing. She saw him as some kind of Robin Hood figure. Right.
It's quite a leap from teacher being drawn to a known criminal.
It happened fast. She quits her job. And she doesn't just tolerate his criminal life. She actively encourages it, helps him rob people so they can afford these fancy dates, spending thousands and thousands of yuan. Her life definitely wasn't boring anymore.
And this attraction to his criminality, this excitement, it points towards something specific. Psychologically, it aligns with Hybristophilia. You might have heard it called Bonnie and Clyde Syndrome.
Okay.
It's basically being sexually aroused or attracted to someone precisely because they commit crimes. It suggests she wasn't just, blindly in love or manipulated. She might have actively chosen this path because the danger itself thrilled her. It literally turned her on.
That's a really chilling thought, and it definitely seems to fit what happened next. By summer 1996, things escalate dramatically. Xiying gets into it with another gang, hurts one of them badly. He knows they'll be after him, so he runs to Rongzhi. Her family finds out who she's with. They're horrified, but she chooses him, turns her back on her family, flees with Xiying, ready to start this new, fully criminal life together. Now they're cut off from his old connections, desperate for money. So they come up with this plan, the adultery scam.
Ah, yes, the setup.
Right. Rongzhi uses an alias, Jin. Works as a hostess, lures guys back to their place. Then Xiying bursts in, pretending to be the husband, furious.
Demanding money to keep quiet?
Exactly. We're talking like 70,000, 80,000 yuan. That's roughly 10 grand US dollars. The victims could pay or risk everything, job, marriage, reputation. So most paid up. They did this for months moving around China. But there's a problem.
The victims could identify them.
Precisely. They realized this couldn't last. They needed to make a little adjustment to how they operated. And that adjustment was murder. July 28th, 1996. Nanchang. Rongzhi lures a man, Shangxi, 35 years old, back to their rented place. Xiying is hiding. He sees Qi has expensive jewelry. He attacks him, ties him up, takes his stuff, demands his home address. Once he has the address, Xiying kills him. Brutally, uses a piece of wire.
Horrific. And Rongzhi's reaction.
Sources say she wasn't scared. She was excited. Then, the truly gruesome part. They dismember his body, pack it into 4 bags. They go to Key's apartment building, first to check the address is right, then again to cut the phone line.
Planning ahead.
Yeah. That same night, they use keys to get into his apartment. His wife, Zhang Li, she's 28, and their little daughter, Zhan Ling, just 3 years old. They're asleep in bed. Xiying wakes them, ties them up, searches for valuables while Rongzhi stands guard, and then he tortures them psychologically, shows the wife and daughter the bag with keys' head in it.
Unbelievable cruelty.
Then he strangles them both, uses his belt. And Rongzhi, apparently giggling, high on the rush, suggesting they burn the place down to destroy evidence. They grab about 20,000 yuan, less than $3,000 US, and flee as the apartment burns. Firefighters find the bodies of the mother and daughter. Xi's remains are found 2 days later in a dumpster after neighbors complain about the smell.
Yeah.
The police, the Public Security Bureau, they trace Qi's last steps, figure out who Jin is, and soon they have names: Lao Rongzhi and Fa Ziying. A wanted notice goes out August 18th. Okay, so they're on the run. A year goes by, October 10th, 1997. They pop up in Wenzhou, new target. Langji Xiaochun, 22 years old. Rongzhi met her at a KTV club, like a karaoke place. Saw she had an Omega watch, figured she must be wealthy.
Another assumption based on appearance.
Right. They go to Xiaochun's apartment, threaten her, but she doesn't have much cash. So they make her call someone who does. She calls her boss, Liu Suqing, who's 29. Pretends she's sick. Suqing comes over to help.
And walks right into their trap.
Exactly. Xiying ties her up too. But again, not much cash on either of them. So Rongzhi gets crafty. While Xiying guards the women, she goes to the bank, tries to withdraw money from their accounts. The teller actually knows Suqing gets suspicious. But Rongzhi smooth talks her, says she's just doing a favor.
And it worked.
Yeah, she manages to transfer Suqing's savings, about 2,750 yuan. Not a huge amount. Then Xiying just strangles both women, no hesitation. The pair grab what valuables they can and leave Wenzhou on a coach bus the same day, but they make a mistake. Hours later, Xiaochun's phone rings. Rongzhi actually answers it.
Why would she do that?
Who knows? Maybe panic, maybe arrogance. She tells the caller, who turns out to be Xiaochun's actual boyfriend, Li, that Xiaochun left her phone behind while traveling with another boyfriend. Li thinks this sounds really weird. He gets into the apartment the next day and finds the bodies, still tied up.
And that mistake proved crucial, because police found Xiying's fingerprints on the victim's clothes. It linked him directly to the Wenzhou murders and matched prints from the Nanchang scene. The pattern was clear now.
Their reign of terror continues. September 1998, they're in Changzhou. Rongzhi lures Lu Hua, an auto shop owner, to their place. This time, though, Xiying doesn't wait. He attacks Hu immediately, stabs him in the chest. Different MO.
More direct violence up front.
Yeah. They tie Hu up, take his cash, 5,000 yuan and car keys, make him call his wife for ransom. She comes over. They restrain her too. Now, here's a weird twist. Hu starts begging. Not for himself, but for his wife. Do what you want with me, he's crying. Just let her live.
Right.
Rongzhi apparently wanted to kill them both. But Xiying, he was supposedly strangely moved by Hu's love for his wife.
A moment of mercy from him.
Seems so. They took the ransom, 70,000 yuan, stole his sports car, but left them tied up, alive. Later, he and his wife described the pair as incredibly calm, organized, communicating almost without words, just glances, like they knew exactly what the other was thinking. Okay, fast forward again. June 21st, 1999, Hefei. They've been moving around for another year. Now they set up shop again. Separate hotels, but they rent an apartment specifically for the next crime. Rongzhi's working as a bar girl. She meets Yan Jian, 135, a general manager known to be generous, invites him back to the rented apartment.
And Xiying is waiting.
Yep. Attacks Jianhua immediately, but this time, he locks him in a small iron dog cage he had acquired, tells him, write a ransom note for 300,000 yuan or you die. But Jianhua refuses. He doesn't think Xiying will actually kill him.
Big mistake.
Huge mistake. Xiying is furious. Rongzhi suggests they need a demonstration to show they're serious. They tried calling their landlord first, maybe to use him, but he doesn't answer. So Rongzhi calls Zhang Ming, a local repairman, 33 years old, says they have a broken window that needs fixing. Zhang Ming shows up. Xiying attacks him, drags him to the bathroom, and hits him 20 times with an axe. Jianhua, still in the cage, hears everything. The screams.
God, how horrific.
And Xiying just walks back into the living room, casual as anything, and throws Zhang Ming's severed head on the floor right in front of the cage. Didn't need to say a word. And Rongzhi, her job was to stuff the repairman's body into a freezer she had apparently bought specifically for storing bodies.
They planned this level of detail.
Seems like it. Now, Jian was terrified, obviously. Yeah. He writes the ransom note. Rongzhi adds a line herself. I'll be dead for a penny less. Chilling. The ransom exchange gets complicated. Jianho's wife misses the first time due to a mix-up. So they arrange a second meeting, this time at her home. Xiying goes there, cuts the phone line, gets inside, armed. But the wife is clever. She manages to secretly page her manager, who alerts the police. And what happens next is just surreal. The police surround the building, snipers get in position, and there's a local news crew there filming a show called Police Window. They capture the whole thing.
Live standoff.
Yeah, for 3 hours. Xiying is hiding behind a bed, yelling nonsense, talking about human life, demanding food. He even yells at the cameraman filming him. Finally, police pump tear gas in. Xiying starts shooting. They shoot back, hit him in the leg. They rush in, pin him down. He's captured. Alive. Around 11 p.m. And even then, during questioning, he protects Rongzhi. Insists he doesn't know her, gives her time to get away.
Loyalty, or just trying to control the narrative.
Hard to say. But it worked. She vanished. Meanwhile, July 27th, a few days after the standoff, police get a call. A landlord found 2 bodies in a freezer in one of his properties. It's Yin Jianhua and the repairman, Xiying. Turns out this landlord was the one they tried to call for the demonstration if he'd answered his phone.
He would have been the victim instead of Zhang Ming.
Exactly. And on a table in that apartment, a note in Rongzhi's handwriting. Honey, I'll wait for you at home. I love you. She had clearly killed Jianhua after Xiying didn't come back from the ransom attempt.
Yeah.
Police tell Xiying they found Jianhua's body, that Rongzhi was involved. He still denies knowing her. He even claims he killed Jianhua himself, which was impossible since he was in custody.
Trying to take the fall for everything.
Or just lying pathologically. He made up stories about timed devices, then just gave up, saying he killed him whenever the prosecutor says I did. At his trial, he tried the Robin Hood defense again, only killed the rich.
Which was obviously false.
Yeah, the prosecution shot that down easily, pointed to the toddler, the repairman. None of them were rich. November 1999, he's found guilty. 7 murders, sentenced to death. Less than a month later, December 28th, he's executed publicly. Shot in the back of the head, he was 35. So Xiying is gone. And Lao Rongzhi, she just disappears off the map. She'd fled to that safe house in Chongqing, her note mentioned. And get this, she didn't even know Xiying was dead until January 2000. Saw it on the news.
Realized he wasn't coming back for her.
Right. So she leaves Chongqing, heads to Xiamen, and begins this life on the run for decades, living in hostels, hotels, working odd jobs, pubs, sometimes selling herself. She completely reinvented herself, spent money on plastic surgery to change her face, used tons of fake IDs, learned different accents, became a real chameleon. Totally. And over the years, the case went cold. Her face wasn't on wanted posters anymore. People forgot. She started to relax, thinking she'd actually gotten away with it, started living a more normal life. By 2016, she's working as a barmaid in Xiamen, calls herself Sherry. People liked her, said she was fun. Then in 2017, she's selling cars, even starts a new relationship. Her boyfriend, her friends, nobody had a clue who she really was. But then comes 2019. China's launching Operation Cloud Sword for the PRC's 70th anniversary. This means deploying like hundreds of millions of AI-powered cameras everywhere, face recognition.
Creating the world's biggest surveillance network, supposedly able to ID anyone in the country in seconds.
Yeah, 1.4 billion people, scanned constantly.
And this tech, it's definitely a double-edged sword, isn't it? On the one hand, yeah, it gives the state, or Big Brother, immense control. Privacy concerns are huge. But the flip side is it makes it incredibly hard for criminals like Rongzhi to hide forever. Collective safety versus individual privacy.
It's a massive debate. And for Rongzhi, that tech was the end of the line. November 27th, 2019. Cameras in a shopping mall, Donggang Plaza in Xiamen. They get a hit, an unexpected match. There's this woman working at a watch stall. Friendly, popular vendor. Looks a bit like Lao Rongzhi.
Just a bit. After all that time in surgery.
To the human eye, yeah, maybe just a slight resemblance. But the AI, it kept flagging her. A 97.33% match. Consistently.
That's the power of the algorithms. They see patterns beyond just surface features, gait, bone structure changes over time, things a human might miss, especially after 20 years.
So the next day, plainclothes officers show up at the mall. The woman says her name is Hong Yujiao. They take her in anyway. DNA test leaves no doubt. It's her, Lao Rongzhi. After 2 decades. Turns out she'd heard about the AI cameras, but just didn't realize how good they actually were. She took that part-time job at her boyfriend's watch stall and walked right into the net. Her boyfriend, incredibly, stood by her at first. Said they had the wrong woman, swore he'd spend everything to defend her.
Denial must have been strong.
Must have been. But the DNA was undeniable. So Rongzhi confesses. Sort of. She admits who she is, admits being with Xiying, the maid Marian, to his Robin Hood, as she put it. But she claims she was forced. An unwilling participant. Threatened. said Xiying made her do it, threatened her family, cried in court, saying her screams were often louder than the victims, claimed she was the real victim.
But the evidence just didn't back that up. Not at all. There was a mountain of it. Phone records, CCTV, eyewitnesses, inconsistencies in her own stories, forensics. It all pointed to her being not just complicit, but likely a very willing participant, suggesting she picked targets, encouraged Xiying, and maybe even killed Yin Jianhua herself out of malice. The Hybristophilia angle seems much more plausible based on the evidence. Forensic psychologist Catherine Ramsland studied women linked to serial killers. Rongzhi didn't fit the profile of someone trying to change the man or seeking fame. It looked more like she wanted to live out this dark fantasy with this alpha male criminal.
In court, she did apologize to the families, specifically mentioned Zhu Dong, the wife of the repairman Zhang Ming. Zhu Dong had been left raising 3 kids alone, caring for 5 other relatives. Zhang Ming's mother had apparently cried herself blind. Rongzhi apologized to her boyfriend too for the lies, for letting him spend his money, even offered to start a GoFundMe for the victims.
A bit late for apologies, perhaps?
The court certainly thought so. September 9th, 2021, she's found guilty. Serial homicide, same sentence as Xiying death. She appealed, but it was upheld in August 2022. She got to see her family one last time, the one she abandoned over 2 decades earlier. Apologized to them, asked them to pay back some money her boyfriend's mother had lent her, prayed no one else in their family would end up like her. Then on December 18th, 2023, Lao Rongzhi was executed by lethal injection. She was 49. And just like that, this incredibly dark chapter of the story of China's Bonnie and Clyde was finally over. Decades later, justice, or at least an ending, for the victims and their families.
It really leaves you thinking, doesn't it, about motivation. How much was coercion, if any? How much was her own desire for whatever dark thrill she got from it? Was she truly a victim or a monster hiding behind tears? The evidence leans one way, but the human mind is complex.
And it throws that bigger question into sharp relief too, the one about technology.
Yeah.
This case is a stark example of surveillance power. As AI, facial recognition, DNA tech gets even better, what is that balance between privacy and safety? Are we heading towards a future where the perfect crime is literally impossible? What do you think? If you found this deep dive compelling, maybe a little disturbing, please do give it a like, share it with fellow true crime enthusiasts, and definitely subscribe to our channel, Horror Docx, for more explorations into these darker sides of humanity. Until next time, stay curious, and please, stay safe.